Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Boss Battle. This is episode 64 with Raven Quest featuring Nicholas. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. How about yourself?
Doing great, doing great. Good to see you here. We also have our absolutely. We also have our co-host Ramen, who is just ready to go today.
I broke my freaking microphone pop filter. I'm so pissed right now. But yo, I'm bringing my best, getting it off my chest, kicking it idle with Raven, Quest, Smoke Some Cess. That all rhymed. I'm doing pretty good right now. Let's go.
Are you an MC today? What are you doing?
Dude, he's killing it. Holy shit.
Yo, I be trying. I try. Catalyst power, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, he's super fired up today. His mic isn't working properly or something, but
unbelievable.
Again.
Ready to go.
Unbelievable.
Oh, you got more ramen? Hell yeah.
No. Just this, the fact that I broke my thing is just absolutely unbelievable. All right, go ahead. Continue, sir.
No worries. We're going to go over the rules real quick. So, our guest here has to get an 85 average above all bosses across all of them. You in the chat will be voting at the end of each round on how our hero is doing here. There will also be a cooldown period. This won't be counted against his score. Just some rapid fire questions, and then we're gonna go into our final boss after that.
Oh shit, I'm nervous, man.
Production always has pretty tough questions, so hope you're ready. Let's go into our first boss.
Whoa.
Shout out production on that. First question says Raven, is it RavenIdle?
RavenIdle, correct, yeah.
Cool. RavenIdle pioneers risk to earn with battle passes, funded prize pools instead of token emissions. What convinced you to break from traditional Web3 models, and how does this change player psychology?
Yeah, so a big thing for us is trying out different models, us building out an ecosystem of different titles around our Quest launcher. And with that, Raven Quest is really allowing us to build things a little bit different that capture a different demographic. RavenIdle, the biggest strength is you're getting the Raven Quest experience, but in an idle game and with 5-10 minutes a day, as opposed to a classic MMORPG where you're playing a lot. And so we really wanted to look, how can we hit a different demographic with it? And with that, also try out different models. And we think the risk turn model is really interesting. We actually have it now set up where 100% of revenue from everything, so not just the battle passes, will go towards the prize pool. And really the goal is just to see how that format works and how players like it. Try different models out.
Love that answer. We got a lot of people in the chat here. Is my camera frozen? Oh, there we go. We're back. My stuff glitched out for a second there. We have a question here in the audience. It says, hey, can you guys tell me something about mobile release?
The number one question. I actually did I do a weekly thing just in recent weeks called Nighters Forge, where I just go through community top upvoted feedbacks or questions. And mobile is usually one of the top ones. And in the last Nighters Forge, I talked quite a bit about it. With our mobile client, we already did a play test of it before the release, and we still had some UI stuff to finish up. However, with mobile, it introduces a lot of risk of cheaters. Our anti-cheats like BattleEye don't work on mobile, or BattleEye doesn't work on any mobile. AnyBrain does, but we want to really make sure to get our anti-cheat processes 100% ironclad before introducing mobile. Just last week, we introduced a new automated reporting system where it instantly pings our game masters. And so as soon as someone's reported, it literally pings them on Discord to log in and check that player. And that's been super successful with just catching anyone who gets past our anti-cheats. But ultimately with that, we want to get that ironclad before dropping mobile. And so soon is the answer there. but yeah, mobile just introduces a whole new slew of risks and new ways that cheaters get in. And so we want to make sure that's ironclad.
I'm gonna be honest, I had no idea there were mobile cheaters.
Oh, it is. It's so much easier to cheat on mobile, and it's way more common too. So it is even when Albion Online, when they introduced their mobile client, most cheaters were using it, and it's a lot harder to detect on mobile. So
I have a quick question. Sorry, go ahead, Ramen.
Oh no, you go. I also have a quick question. So you quick question, then I
Yeah.
have a question.
Yeah, because so this is a little bit of admission on my part, but I've used like emulators on my computer with mobile apps and stuff. Do they consider that to be cheating, or
No.
is that
No,
okay?
generally not. I would say like if the game is intentionally mobile only, like a shooter on mobile only, and you're using an emulator, yeah, you can maybe argue it's like an unfair advantage. But our mobile client for Raven Quest is full crossplay, so it is like you can be on PC or on mobile. So if you're playing on mobile, you're electing to do that. And so yes, a PC player, they have a full keyboard and stuff. They're going to have some benefits there. But generally, I'm more referring to like automation and stuff like that.
Okay, gotcha. Go ahead, Ramen.
All right, I gotta ask because I used to glaze any brain for like the longest time, but they really suck on socials, and I kept telling them like I can't wait for the integration. I saw what they did with CS. I actually was trying to do some like early testing with them to help them. I gotta ask, how has that been? Because the way that they approach anti-cheats, well, like kind of blew me away where they're taking this, I guess, making
digital fingerprint.
Yeah. And they said it doesn't matter where you go in an ecosystem. They can track that by doing that. And I said, that's actually really dope. I hope they find them all, ban them, and find them for life, put them in jail, gulag, all that.
Yeah, even like cross game cheating, right? So we don't enforce this because it feels a little weird to us, but they do have support for that. So if you're caught cheating any game with any brain, they're able to actually forward that list over of those digital fingerprints. So you just ban them before they even go into your game. Again, we don't really like that, but it's interesting technology. And even if like they made some form of like social credit, whichever no one likes to say, but with cheating in games, right? But we've been working with AnyBrain since December of like a year and a half now, December of 2023. And they're awesome guys. We're actually in the process of opening a studio in Portugal in the same city that they are in Braga. And so we were there recently and met with them and we're working on some other things with them as well. They're a really cool team and a really cool approach to anti-cheat. And it's very different from BattleEye. We use both, even though it's very expensive to use both, because it just provides much stronger defense. AnyBrain's good at catching some things BattleEye doesn't do well, and vice versa. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, glad to see it and glad to kind of hear like this thing happening. But it's like Skynet though; it's always learning, right? It's just learning.
And it's great for like catching people that are account sharing, because it is consistently tracking like their habits and their usage. And so if another player goes on their account, it's like it blaringly obvious. Like this is not like something in the cloud or something that you're like not able to see. It breaks it down very well. I'm like, okay, this is clearly a different player on this account. And that's an example of something that BattleEye can't track is somebody that's like account sharing, stuff like that. So yeah.
Imagine if they start like integrating like wallets and finding out which accounts cash out to the same KYC exchanges. Now that would be a crazy play.
Dude, just imagine the kind of content you can make off of that too. Like,
it'd be great.
Yeah.
Purging all the cheaters from the ecosystem. Web3 is going to make it now.
Yeah, actually, that's a fun idea. It's like a show idea. Like each week, going through people that got caught cheating in our games and breaking down how
public shaming.
Yes. Yeah, I got to be a little careful, but at the same, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's gonna be like your scammer payback. You know what I mean? Like you're like the secret like agent guy that's like in the computer like leaking everything. Like, oh, we know what you're doing. Hell yeah.
It's so funny, man. The amount of people that will open like ban appeal and then they'll like message me and be like, hey, this is not real, or like I wasn't cheating or whatever. And then every time like I'll check with our team and ask them to show like what they were caught for doing. And the amount of times people will like ban appeal and you go through like what happened. It's like the most obvious, like there's not even like a like close defense or anything, but they'll still stand by. They're like, no, I wasn't doing anything wrong. And it's like, dude, for like 45 minutes, we saw your character running into a wall and not responding and not solving caps and like all these things, right? It's like you were, anyways.
That's like those YouTube videos where it's like, yo, we caught you stealing. Nah. And then they bring them into the security room at Walmart, Target, and they show them of watching them putting them in their pants. And they're like, yeah, that's not me.
Yeah.
No, bro, that's literally you.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where like almost never a cheater will actually admit to it. Little pro tip. if you do admit to it and you share what you were doing, oftentimes we reduce your ban, because ultimately, like, we want, like, banning someone is, unless it's like really nefarious, but usually it's more about like, how do we reform this so that they keep playing but don't cheat, right? Like, we don't want to lose a player. Like, banning people sucks, right? You're losing a player, but we also don't want people making an unfair environment. So usually when we do that, like, we're hoping that they email us and be like, hey, I screwed up, I used this thing, you know, I wanted to get a little bit of an edge, I'm sorry. We're usually like, okay, well, let's reduce this a bit, or let's remove it away from being a permanent. Again, it depends on the damage they caused. If they're running 100 characters, no, fuck them. But if it's like, you know, someone automates gathering their land for an hour, and they were like, sorry, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss my gathering cycle, we're usually like, okay, man, you screwed up. Don't do it again. But yeah.
Just put them in a server with other cheaters and let them think they're keep playing the game, but it's a
server jail. Server jail. Just saying. Okay, right. we got a message from Mizzy in the chat. It says, "Look at these chads."
What's going on,
Mizzy?
Coming in looking like a pink Q-tip. What's up, Miz?
Got a couple audience questions. I'm going to hop back to these audience questions in just a second. We're going to get to our second questioning here. And it says, Raven Quest had complex land ownership and guilds. RavenIdle strips this to 5-minute Telegram sessions. How do you preserve IP depth while making it all accessible to casual users?
Yeah, so it is on web browser, mobile, and Telegram. And ultimately with that, the game still has insane depth. Like, I think that's something that shocked a lot of people when we did the first play test for it. We did like a 24-hour play test a few weeks ago. A lot of people, I think, thought it was just going to be like a single landing page and like click a button to automate, and that's pretty much it. And so us underselling it, I think, worked really well, because a lot of people were really surprised by how deep and full the idle game is. And ultimately, it is like pulling everything from Raven Quest. So like, we have the same archetypes, skills, and stuff like that, with a little bit of tweaks for balance. But ultimately, the goal with RavenIdle, we didn't expect it to be nearly as big as it is. We had like a couple thousand signups the first day, and then it was literally just snowballing every day, to the point that we had 8,000, next day over 20,000, and it's been going crazy. But really, our goal was like, let's build something that can, if you know MMORPG, kind of akin to MMORPG and old school RuneScape, where MMORPG was like an idle version of old school RuneScape. And I noticed with a lot of people that I knew that don't have the time to play old school RuneScape but still love that universe, it was a great way for them to stay in that universe. And then when like Christmas break came around, they're like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna play old school RuneScape again, right? I'm gonna get the full experience. So we looked at RavenIdle as a way to appeal to that demographic, keep them in our ecosystem, but then at the same time, like, educate new users on the game, because Raven Quest is a very complex game. It's not an easy onboarding experience for users. And RavenIdle teaches kind of all those same mechanics, but in a much simpler way.
I do love that you guys kind of like under promised and then over delivered, because like a lot of times it's the opposite in this space.
Yeah.
And so like people can organically find things within what you're like giving them.
Yeah.
And they can take a lot from that to be like, oh, this is actually a really fun game. There's a lot to explore here. Versus like other games where it's like, oh, we're gonna sell you this big dream, and it's like,
yeah, it's gonna be the next product. It's gonna be the next GTA and all this stuff. It's like, did you see how much GTA cost to make?
Or how long it took to make it? Yeah.
And that's kind of one of those things with that, is like, we've realized that you get a lot better reception if you do under promise, right? If you go in like, hey, this is what's coming, something, you know, it's coming, etc. And then when they see what it actually is, they're like, well, this is way better than I expected. They're going in that with like a positive relationship right away, as opposed to going in like thinking it's going to be the next, you know, biggest thing ever to hit gaming. And then it's like not that, even if it's really great, and they have a negative feeling, right? And so that's been our approach since day one, and we're going to continue to build that way.
Got a question here from the audience. Kind of a lengthy one. He has two questions. When and where can we buy the BP? If you want to do BP giveaways to the community, is that possible? Is there like a way to get like codes for them or something?
Yeah, so you'll be able to buy the battle pass once the game launches. We are trying to it launches in a couple of days here. So we are trying to make it so you can get them 24 hours early. I believe they did add a gifting option, but we'll also be giving away some to creators to give away as well. If you have a larger community, or even just a community that's very active, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. You can, in the RavenIdle Discord or RavenQuest, you can see me at the top, Niter. Shoot me a message with your community and we can maybe get you something.
All right, Hanzu, hope that answered your question. We also have another question here from Victor. Will it be available for Android and iOS or just Android?
Yeah, so it's web-based, so you can just play on your phone through browser. It's not an actual downloaded game.
All right, Victor, hope that answered your question. One more question. I don't know what he means by this, but I'm just going to throw it out here. When next big one?
Hey, yo.
When next big one? I have no idea what he's asking. If he adds more context, I'm happy to answer.
Please add context.
Yeah.
And then one final question here from the audience. What is the barrier to release the game on Steam?
None. So all of our products that we build out are all built out with intention to be able to be on any platform, which we always see a huge advantage to self-publishing first. You already have a core audience, you already have core interest, and it also gives you time to kind of build out foundational parts, and then you can go onto other publishers. For example, we're dropping Raven Quest on Epic Games in soon. I almost leaked the date. Soon. And so with that though, like that's a good time to have those catalysts, I guess, fitting to bring in new audience. And yeah.
All righty. Let's move on to our next question here. By the way, chat, the poll is live on Twitch. Go ahead and vote. Let us know how Nicholas is doing on this first boss here. Question says, launching across web, mobile, and Telegram simultaneously means 3 different demographics. Which platform do you expect to drive the most growth, and how does player behavior differ across channels?
Yeah, that's like a really good question. I would say we're not super familiar with the Telegram community. So we're actually not really sure fully what to expect there. I would say that the web-based is probably going to be the most popular. Web-based, this has been our first web-based title that we've built out, and we realize how nice it is because you can iterate on things and build things really fast web-based compared to with an actual game client and all the things that go with that. But I would say web browser is probably what we think will be the biggest, but I really have no idea because we don't know the Telegram side super well. Yeah.
For sure. We got another question here from the audience. Why Ramen?
I've seen that.
So strange.
Hey, bro, I can see your profile picture too, so right back at you.
Patronix is a legend. He's an OG.
Hey, look at my hairline still visible though. Let's go.
Oh, you don't even have hair, bro. You just have noodles. Come on.
Look. There's 2.
Got 2 pieces there. Okay.
I got
We'll watch
2
our
pieces.
next question here. Your Pocket Raven Dawn experience tagline suggests genuine world building, not just a cash grab. What specific lore and archetypes translate to this simplified format, and what had to be cut?
Yeah, so a lot of the systems you'll notice from RavenQuest are in RavenIdle. Everything from using land to trade packs to combat, all the professions, all of that. There was a few things that we cut for now, such as fishing and a couple other things. Obviously, some parts of RavenQuest won't translate well, like Guild versus Guild or Guild Wars. But a lot is in there, and we kind of did our own take on a couple things, like bringing in the Gladiator Arena to give like a sense of end of season PvP. Some things just don't translate as well, but a lot of the core systems translate really well. So,
alrighty. Let's move on to our last question here. It says, this started as a Discord bot in the Raven Dawn community. How did the transition to standalone blockchain game change the core mechanics, and what lessons shaped the final product?
Yeah, so the RavenIdle game that we built out was years ago, and it was actually just one of our engineers just really needed a change of scenery for a little bit. So he was like, hey, can I just like build out a little idle game for the Discord or whatever? And we're like, yeah, sure. Just to kind of, as a game developer, sometimes you just need a change of pace. You just need to work on something different, especially from start to finish. And it was like not at all inspired by Raven Dawn or Raven Quest in terms of like the gear progression, all that was completely different. It was like just random items you would get. And it was a very, very, very simple game. There wasn't much depth to it. There wasn't a lot of things going on to it. We kind of just built it out as, again, a little creative expression. The now web-based RavenIdle is significantly deeper. It's all our own like universe and items and all that kind of stuff. So much more akin to your Raven Quest experience than it used to be. Oh, and he's gone.
Oh,
Just the two of us now.
Oh, wow. Hey, just the two of us.
Time to start rhyming.
If we try, just the two. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, I gotta go. We got a message over here from Skilo, otherwise known as the Shorty Mac. I wish I was a little bit taller. I'm just kidding. Vetronox is a legend. Don't do my boy like that. Listen, it's all fun and games in here. Vetronox, all good for the good vibes. Hey, we're just messing around here too. Listen, if you see me in real life, shots are going to be fired. That's why I'm using this AI avatar to hide my insecurities behind this cool fiber-made avatar that I'm using right now. So that's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah, you know, I see you down here, Hanzo, being unique. That's another word for calling me weird. I accept that. We're in Web3. I'm okay. It's okay. It's okay. Don't shoot. No. Gloves up, guns down. We're all about that life. If we ever want to, you know, spar it out in the gym or something like that, go easy on me, though. I'm going to be like 44 this year. I'm fragile, like frozen dried noodles. So, yeah. Hey, man,
Well,
Hado
what do we do with the host gone? I feel so lost now. We're just floundering here.
I feel like we should just give stuff away. That's always like a good like interim thing to.
Yeah, I hope this doesn't hurt my rating against the boss. Like what? You know?
No. The community votes. The community votes. Yeah, they're going to do that. Well, let's see here. Hold on, we got some questions. Let's get some questions while we wait for good old Hado from the bottle to come back. Can I buy Battle Pass with Raven coins?
Not with Raven coins. However, you are able to use like Coinbase Commerce, Xsola, all the same stuff on Raven Quest. However, adding the ability to use your Raven coins, we probably could add. But yeah.
Got it. No, great question. Great question. Oh, people feeling my pain down here. Nerd Logic, 43 2 weeks. I feel you, dude. Listen, the only thing I'm feeling right now is my L3, L4, L5, S1, my rotator cuff, and a knee. But, you know, that's what happens when sports, right? We all played sports, I think, when we were younger. So the recovery time is just not the same anymore. I don't know how people do it. Vetronox 33 last week, texting from toilet high five boomers. Yo, listen. I don't say anything bad about the toilet, the bathroom. That is what we call the secondary office, or you can rent one of those from a WeWork location or one of those things, but way too expensive. You could just migrate over to the bathroom and take care of so many DMs and Telegram. All the deal flow happens from the toilet, my friend. All right, Hado, welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
My power flickered off and then back on, so the show moves on. Let's go.
Like the Mavericks. All right, let's go. All right.
Anyways, that was a low blow, man. That was a low blow.
My bad. Luca loves you. All right.
Luca loves you. Okay. Last question here, the last boss, or first boss, sorry, says this started as a Discord bot in Raven Dawn community.
Oh, we answered that one.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah. We're already ahead of you, man.
Oh shit! Okay.
Started our own show while you were gone.
Yeah,
it was like.
Well, that means that we're going to move on to our special announcement.
Ramen Quest.
You say Ramen Quest?
Idle.
Ramen Quest, RavenIdle. I like those. If we could change it, we would.
I don't have the video ready, so we're just going to pull up the post, okay? Ramen. For the badge.
Wait,
you talk about the badge?
That's like the best part though. What do you mean it's not ready?
It's not ready.
Come on.
It's not ready. I'm sorry.
The thunder's gone though.
The thunder's still here.
All right, just
literally.
Just whatever. Just pull.
I'm assuming that's what knocked out my power. I don't know.
Do you have
I don't know what's going on.
Do you have like a pencil sketch or something like that? Like, you know, like anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up visual. Just talk about it.
All right, talking about it. Waiting for the visual, though. I'm just kidding, folks. Listen, this is going to be my favorite part of the show. If you've seen the other 63 episodes of Boss Battles, you will know that my favorite part is giving away our badge. And it is completely free, gratis. Those are the only two words I know. If the other languages say free, definitely drop those in the chat. But you want to collect this because this is going to have some utility in the Catalyst ecosystem. Praise the gods. We have a visual, folks. That's what I'm talking about right here. Big, bold, beautiful Raven Quest Idle badge. Go collect that right now. It is gasless and it is free. My favorite four-letter word. Free, 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 free.
And it is working today.
It's
You can
no way it's
go
working
right
today.
here.
Hey,
It's actually working today. We're
sorry
so
for clapping. I hate people that clap when they talk. I'm sorry. Take it all back.
Yeah, don't do that, man. Don't do that. That's.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna move on to the second boss.
Huntress.
Ramen, take it away.
Let's freaking go. But before we get into the second boss, though, Nicholas, I got to ask you one question.
Yep.
How did the skeleton play Raven Quest?
Can a skeleton play Raven Quest?
Why did the skeleton play Raven Quest?
Oh, why?
Because he wanted to be a bona fide hero.
Okay. All right, that's pretty good. I'll give that.
No,
I'll give that a pass.
Chat, roast him right now. Chat, roast him.
Yeah, please roast
You guys
him.
should roast him, but I'm a guest, so I'll give him a pass.
That's all right. Doesn't count towards your score. All right. First question, second boss. The 570,000 maximum prize pool requires massive player buy-in, 100% funded by Battle Pass sales. What happens if you don't hit critical mass? And do you have a minimum viable pool? And how do you manage expectations if sales underwhelm? That's a big question.
Yeah, so that is like kind of the cap of the prize pool that we have set. To be clear, we've been clear that we will happily continue to increase that. Right now we have a $70,000 seeded prize pool. So that is seeded by our team. So that is the base prize pool there regardless. So we felt that was really actually kind of funny story on that. It actually wasn't up to 70K. So there was a 10K seeded prize pool. And as the prize pool grew from the risk to earn element, we would actually add additional amounts to it. So it would be like reward tiers up to 500K. That would increase it to 570. However, we did a little bit of incorrect wording when passing that over to Twitter, and everyone was resharing it. And it was like up to 570K, 70K seeded when it's supposed to be up to 70K seeded as well and 10K base. And everyone just was like retweeting and running with it. And we're like, okay, well, there's no going back now, or everyone's going to think we're like rugging them on this. So we're like, I guess we're doing 70K seeded. So now the starting prize pool is 70,000. And then from there, it grows 1-to-1 with revenue.
That's wild. Wow.
Yeah. A little bit of we had like a damage control meeting with the team. We're like, what do we do? Because everyone's already sharing this. And we had like a few ideas, but we're ultimately like, you know what? Let's just like, it's from our team position. It's not pulling out of like Raven Quest rewards or anything like that. So we're like, let's just run with it. Let's go all in on it. And the reception has made us very like positive on that, where we realized, you know what, we do have something special here. And it's very, very simple, but also very addictive and very fun. So
that's like hunting for loot for real.
Yeah.
So really quick, just want to show, I always get roasted in the end. Vetronox, don't roast him, guys. Cooked anyway. You're absolutely. This guy, Shorty Max, like, yeah, you got me. Oh yeah, throws tomato. WT 7791. It's like, yeah, you go ahead and throw those tomatoes at me, no problem. Man, I'm cooked already.
Do we have that enabled?
From that.
Do we have that enabled on our Twitch? Because you can actually throw tomatoes at the streamer.
Bro, don't give them ideas.
Are
you serious right now? We'll never be able to see the screen. It'll just be a flood of incoming tomatoes.
Chat, if you want to see tomatoes thrown at us, press 1 in chat. We will definitely have that feature. Just let us know.
No way, don't. If you start chat throw tomatoes at me. It'll never see my face ever again. All right, we're gonna.
right,
Yo, chat, chill. Shorty, man. Hey,
we got some ones in the chat.
This is all recorded. No. This is all recorded, and I'm gonna remember each and every one of your names. I'll report you to AnyBrain and get your digital fingerprint and ban you across ecosystems, cross-platform, and
I'm seeing ones in the chat. I'm
universes.
sorry. The people have spoken. We're getting tomatoes thrown at us.
All right, that wraps it up for this episode of Boss Battles. Great having everybody here. We'll see you next time for episode 60. Never. Peace. No, I was kidding. All right, we're going to go on question number 2. Yo, chat is effing me up right now. 100% of the Battle Pass purchases go to the prize pool, meaning zero direct revenue for Tavern Light. How does this impact your business model, and what revenue streams actually sustain development costs?
Yeah, so with that, it's actually 100% of, originally we had it only 100% of the battle passes, and then there's like an optional shop with a few other things that was going to be revenue towards us. We decided just to do everything for season 0. So 100% goes towards it. Really with RavenIdle, like we see it as a strong, onboarding platform for RavenQuest as a whole, and that's really how we're approaching it. Is we want to bring people into our ecosystem and learn about the universe we've built, and it's all through the Quest launcher as well, and then really look at that as like an onboarding tool and educating tool for RavenQuest itself. So that's really our goal there. And again, we built RavenIdle out very lean and in a very smart way. And so, because, we have like the assets already, we have a lot of the UI design that we were able to pull. And so we're able to do it in a very cost efficient way. And so we're not too like concerned about how do we like recoup the development costs on RavenIdle, for example. And right now we see, especially with the amount of signups that it's already had, a really strong path forward, even if just like 2 to 3% of people actually move over and play RavenQuest as well. We see a really strong path forward that. If we don't, then season 1 or the next season, maybe we'll change it a bit and do like 90% or something like that. But right now we really wanted to run with like, hey, every dollar that goes in is a dollar into the reward pool for everyone.
Just kind of on a side quest, do you feel that this kind of, mentality, this very, I think I consider you guys very hardcore community first. I've seen some different opinions on that. Do you think that this has played out for the better for you taking this approach, or has it been a really like kind of fickle balance?
Yeah, I mean, definitely like you get some good graces when you say 100% is going back to the community, because again, they're not understanding that you're a company that needs to make revenue and stuff as well.
Right.
We've seen this time and time again, though, with different things that we've done that weren't expected. Like additional things that we brought for players or for different systems in the game or whatever, or giving things back or increasing prize pools and stuff. And I will say it builds some like social credit, but it's very quickly forgotten the second you do anything they don't like. So I like talking to kind of other teams and stuff. I do mention many times, like, you do need to be careful, because if you do, like, let's say you, I don't know, do something that is worth $100, right? And you take away something that's $100, they won't see that as a wash. They'll see that as like a negative, right? I'm using kind of generalities there. But the social credit you build up is quite small compared to what you lose if you do anything they don't like. And it's forgotten really quickly. So it's one of those things, like we're taking this route because we did misspeak. So we're like, okay, you know what? We'd rather do that than feel like we're burning people or something just because we mistweeted something. But ultimately there is benefits to that as well. Like, again, when you are providing that much in rewards just out of your team's pocket. But yeah.
And transparency is going to build trust too. So like, that's the thing you guys are building is trust. And that's going to strengthen like the unit of like all the fan base. Just, they want to play the game more because they trust you guys.
Totally. Yeah. Right. And again, yeah, because not to devalue that at all, because that is very important. More so what I was just meaning is that you can do 100 things right and one thing that they think is wrong, and you'll kind of like, it's not like a 1-to-1. They won't be like, oh, well, there's 100 that outweigh the 1. They'll be like, no, you're back to square one. So trust and like building up community sentiment is very fickle, because it's lost immediately and it takes a lot of time to build up. And even once you build it up, there's no like balance there or whatever. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still very important, right? Yeah.
It's like that big struggle of like perception versus perspective with the
Yeah,
community.
we say it almost every day inside the studio, which is perception versus reality, especially when it comes to game balance. Because like we know certain builds in the game from our internal QA who play the game a lot, QAs like quality assurance staff who play a lot, and they know certain builds that like easily can beat one really popular build in the game. But because the perception of that build is that it's too strong, it doesn't matter if there's another build that someone could do to hard counter that build. The reality or like the perception will always be that that build's too strong. So it's one of those hard things, and something that we talk about all the time in-house is like, guys, perception matters more than reality, especially like if a system, like we had this with fishing in Raven Quest, where people were constantly like, oh, fishing produces too much. And at one point it did, but then we got to a point where it was actually really balanced with other parts of the game, but the perception was still that it was way too good, right? And that can be a hard thing because no amount of like data or sharing with the community will change their minds, right? They'll just be like, oh no, you know, they don't see those kind of things. And even if we show it to them, they're not going to go through it anyways. So perception does matter more than reality, unfortunately. But understanding that and like leaning into that can also be important and a skill in itself.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Glad you guys, you know, it's nice having those kind of conversations. I don't work for any like thing in that capacity, so I could imagine like the conversations that have to be had. I do want to get to a couple of questions this year. I know I'm running a little bit behind, but this guy's like Lobiman Slow. Lobus Man LOL. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but when the new Cool C content will come to the game?
We check if you're in the Raven Quest Discord, check the Second Nighters Forge that I just did, because I share about some stuff with fishing that's coming, and I dig into that a little bit.
Okay, and then one more, because I think this question popped up twice, and then we're gonna get to the next question here. How do referrals affect your RavenIdle reward?
Yeah, so with RavenIdle, you can get up to 3 referrals. We're doing a pretty different referral system. On Raven Quest, it was like an open-ended referral system, and you would get like reward pool points based on your referrals and what they do and how much they play. And the community didn't like that too much because really big creators would get a ton of referrals, which, to be clear, is a good thing for a game. Like, you want to encourage creators to bring in a ton of referrals because that's good for everybody playing. But of course, again, it's the perception versus reality. They don't see like the long term, like how does 10,000 new players benefit, even if I maybe drop one spot on the leaderboard. But with that, with RavenIdle, what we did is you can get up to 3 referrals. And so, to be clear, to be deemed like a successful referral is they obtain a battle pass. This is to avoid the easy multi-accounting that people could do for this. And so, getting more than 3 referrals is great. It gives you a higher chance that all 3 will lock in. But ultimately with that, each referral, you'll get different rewards in the game, but then you'll also get a bonus to your reward pool points. But again, only up to 3. So after that, there's no one that's going to be able to come in with like 100 people under their referral and be boosted to the very top spot. It's only 3.
All right, and I left this posted up here. Poll is live, chat. Please make sure you go and vote. Because Raven Quest depending on you. They're depending on you, folks. You have the power in your hands.
Go vote.
All right. And also, just for everybody that's asking questions in here too, listen, I would say don't be a stranger to the Raven Quest Discord. Go in there. I'm sure there's plenty of community members that also have a ton of answers for everybody. And, pump up the Discord. Let's go. But let's move on to question number 3, boss number 2. Most idle games struggle with week 1 retention. With prizes distributed at season end, how do you maintain engagement without the daily reward loops players expect from idle games?
Yeah, so I guess that's like a multi-piece question there. Most games have a hard time with retention, right? Look at like New World's a great example of that. New World, in almost every way, has been a very successful MMO. But people looked at like their retention on the first month going from over 1 million players down to whatever, it was like 50,000 or 100,000. It's like, that's still an insane player base to be concurrently playing, right? That's still an insane number. And when you look at like the amount of MMOs that survive and thrive with just like 400 concurrent or 500 concurrent, but people were like using that against New World. It's like, retention is harder and harder nowadays because there's so many games releasing. There's so many things for people to play, and most gamers are just way more ADHD than they used to be. Like, you know, game tutorials have to be very hand-holdy now compared to what they were 25 years ago. So most games will have an issue with retention in general, but it feels like I wish that the industry moved away from like, what did they have on launch versus what did they have after 30 days, and more look at like, what did they have after 30 days and then 60 days, right? Because that's going to give a much better representation, because ultimately a lot of people are going to log in 2 minutes and they're going to be like, this isn't the game for me. I'm going to hop to something else, right? And you shouldn't really consider that like a player, right? Really what you should be looking at is like that 30, 60. Anyways, all in all, I wouldn't say that's unique to idle games. I think just player retention in general can be difficult. But I mean, MMORPG is a great example. I think a good idle game has a reason that people want to play very long term. I mean, I played MMORPG for like 2 years. You know, it's a few minutes a day, and I enjoyed every step of that. But then also, we don't actually do daily rewards. We do like seasonal based rewards. So it's at the end of the 28-day season. And there's a reason why it's season 0, because we plan to do many seasons with this. We plan to overlap our different titles where they are not like dropping at the same time. So kind of akin to World of Warcraft retail with Classic WoW, how they'll drop something with Classic WoW, and then months later it's with retail, and kind of leapfrogging between the two of them. And that's really what we plan to do with RavenIdle, Raven Quest, and then also the other things that we have coming pretty soon.
Almost did it again, folks. I can swear. He's like literally on the cusp of. We've had, if you've watched the other episodes, Hado, how many times have people just like didn't mean to, and they're like, fuck it, we just dropped it on.
They're
here.
like,
Well,
I'm already mid sentence, so now I have to say, well, this is alpha.
Yeah, we got to change this one to alpha, not leak. Like, gotcha.
Yeah.
Really quick, I think Monkey was commenting on this. He's been pretty active in the chat here. He said retention also something Raven Quest needs a boost. Hopefully 1.1.0 will bring back many folks. So I think people are raving for the comeback. You see what I did there?
Yeah. I mean, so no doubt about that. But the reality is, and again, perception versus reality, our retention numbers on Raven Quest are pretty cracked. We work with a lot of other studios. We work very closely with IMX. We share retention numbers. They're pretty ungodly. We know that's because like we are more of a niche style game, and there's a much higher chance that someone who sees Raven Quest and decides to play it will probably like that type of game, right? And we don't do a lot of like just mass advertising and stuff like that, because obviously that brings in very low retention. The retention numbers on Raven Quest are insane considering we're approaching 4 months since release. But there's no doubt that it's always going to be less players than on launch day or less players than a weekend. What we always look for is just like any MMO looks for is, with launch, you hope that you build like a foundational user base that really love the game. That'll go up and down constantly, right? You drop a little mini patch, some people come back, some people quit in the meantime. But you build like that foundational user base that when you drop new things, they are interested. And then ultimately looking at things like expansions or an Epic Games release or a mobile client drop to bring in that new wave of audience. And then again, you're looking, how do we get that like 20-30% that are going to be like foundational players, right? I've been playing World of Warcraft since I was a kid. I always play like a new expansion for like a month, right? I have a group of like 10 friends. We've been playing since high school. We play for like a month, and then we usually stop. And then, you know, the next PvP season comes out. We usually play again for a month. You know, it comes out 6 months later, whatever. We play for a month again. And then we usually maybe play one more PvP season, and then we wait for the next expansion. This is normal. This is totally healthy player behavior, and shouldn't be. I feel like people should stop seeing that as such a bad thing. Where it, like every game, I mean, like we know it from WoW. Like when me and my buddy, we play a lot of twos together, and we're quite high rated in twos. And like the queue times at this time in the expansion, like it's like 20-minute queues. Like we don't even bother, right? Where during launch, even at high rating, you know, you're getting 20-second queues. And so like every game deals with this, but the goal is, how do you bring compelling reasons to bring them back? And that's why really with 1.1, we decided instead of doing like weekly drops, let's build one really big thing to drop, because that really is what mobilizes people again and gets the word spreading again.
No, that's a great answer, honestly. Like, and it makes a lot of sense too. This actually, what you were talking about, sort of kind of ties into like the next question. We're talking about strategic launches, but the next question: July 4th launch during summer gaming lull while competitors are quiet. Was this timing strategic for capturing attention? And how does seasonality affect user acquisition for a risk to earn model?
Yeah. So, again, a couple parts of that question. I mean, dropping on July 4th, I guess a few different things. Like, one, the product is ready to be shipped, and we feel very big on like deliver when we're ready to deliver. Don't play too much of a meta game there on like who else is launching, what's coming here and stuff. We definitely see like a huge. I did a pretty long post about this a couple weeks ago. But as a studio, like the current landscape, because to be clear, it's not just in Web3 games, it's in traditional games too. It provides like a huge opportunity for studios that are ran well and disciplined with their finances and funds, because there's immense talent out there right now looking for positions, which is obviously something that for many years, talent acquisition for like a studio has been very competitive and very hard. With how many studios in Web 2 and Web 3 have been closing, there's like incredible talent out there looking for a job, right? And not just people that were let go because they weren't good at their job. It's people that like actually are very talented. The studio shut down. And so not only do we see like a huge benefit there, and it's why we actually have new job postings, and soon we'll actually be sharing the new people that have joined the studio in just the last month. But also it's very good for any studio that is still working in Web3 or Web 2, because with that, there's less competition. There's just as many gamers. The gaming market has not shrunk in the slightest. It continues to grow every year. And ultimately, there's more gamers each year and less titles that you have to fight for attention with. So really, it's one of those things like this is a necessary pruning period. There was a lot of overhiring in 2021 and 2022. Anyone in the industry knows that it was very clear overhiring, and it hit traditional tech as well, not just game studios. But ultimately, these are the times where, like, if you can weather these storms when things are at times like this, it sets you up for a really strong path ahead. And we saw that internally. Like, we're a studio for 11 years now, so we've seen these motions already throughout those 11 years. And ultimately, when you can weather those storms, like, it sets you up in a really good spot, because again, less people fighting for attention, less titles coming out. And so you get a lot more of the mind share just organically. So yeah, it's one of the things that as hard as it can be to see like the sunshine at times like this, markets always go through these same motions, right? And so does the game industry, so does everything. It's nothing new, and it's happened since forever. So being able to weather that and come out the other side always positions you to come out much stronger.
Man, I don't know how you're not gonna pass all three bosses. Like, I'm about to go vote for you. I don't even think I'm supposed to, but you guys absolutely crushing it. Really quick before we get to the last question over here, want to make sure that we see some folks that are here in the chat, and I'm just gonna start to wrap it up here in a second. Expanded achievements can also help, since you are talking a lot of WoW. So yep, great. Thanks from Billion Football. We also got Nerd Logic. My buddies and I are waiting for expeditions. So there's a lot of people that have been talking about expeditions in there. So that's actually kind of cool. This chat is cracked right now.
Yeah. They won't disappoint. We've put a lot of work into the design behind expeditions. They're fucking sick. You guys, like, it really feels like it almost could be its own standalone game. Just again, it is very much like a roguelike experience and a very different experience every time you enter. And we built out an incredibly cool system with that we're very excited for everyone to play through. And it really solves one of the biggest weaknesses that we feel Raven Quest has right now, which is like a very strong late game PvE loop one that you always want your character to be stronger, to achieve new things, and expeditions that were really designed with that as the core focus, and then arena on the PvP side as well.
Hey, more content's great, man. That's sick.
Hey, let's go. Speaking of content, you got to convert this guy over here. Any tip for an FPS gamers? I've never played RPGs in my life. I feel your pain.
Yeah. I can't answer that in any way. I mean, RPGs are the best game genre for a reason. Okay. I'm not an FPS guy at all. I mean, I've played some, but the most I've played is like Deadlock because it's a hero shooter. So I like the MOBA side.
Deadlock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not
okay.
I don't have much time, so I play maybe once every like few weeks. But and I haven't for a bit, but I do love Deadlock. It's a very fun game and very well done. But unfortunately, no tips for an FPS gamer.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. That's like two different. That's like asking somebody who plays soccer about tips for playing basketball or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
It's like, you don't even know where to go there.
Soccer has.
Here comes Hado.
You can have great footwork in soccer, and that translates to basketball.
That would.
Oh, man. All right. Well, let's go to we're going to wrap this, not wrap this up. Excuse me. We're going to get to the last question and then start to wrap this up. Make sure to go vote, folks. It's still up there. Poll is up and live. But last question, boss number 2, the caption contest for free battle passes got strong community response beyond launch activation. What's your long-term strategy for building community around a game designed for minimal daily engagement?
Yeah. I mean, like the RavenIdle team has its own project manager involved, and he handles a lot of these things. Like I'm kind of almost more like a consulting role on that because the RavenIdle team is just part of it was actually a third-party group that we brought them all in-house full-time now in our studio. So it is a very like autonomous team there. So they have a lot of their strategies, and basically every day we have a call, almost like a consulting call for like an hour where they just bounce a bunch of questions off me, whether it's on the game side or community side. And then I do the odd announcement as well because I'm kind of like bursting with excitement over things, and they're all more like engineers in the sense that they're like very like results oriented, but I'm like, I want to like share this stuff because I get excited about it. And so that's why I've been doing some announcements in there. But ultimately, like they have very strong strategies on what to do, and they have a ton of experience on what they're doing there. And so wait to see. But yeah, I think everybody, not only in that team, but in our studio as a whole, have been shocked by how strong the reception of RavenIdle has been. Just how many accounts signed up. We really didn't know what to expect. And just to see the growth in accounts each day, and it's still compiling larger and larger, has gotten us really excited about it and its potential. And ultimately, the seasonal structure works really well. We haven't shared exactly what that looks like, but I've shared that it's like 99% likely that we basically have similar to like Diablo and PoE and Black Desert Online, where there's a fresh start for seasons. However, you do have your legacy character. So even after the season, you'll still have your character and your progress, and you'll keep going through. But then the seasonal approach will be like, here's new balances, here's new changes to the game, here's new content, new season, figure it out, right? And that's kind of how we want to make the seasonal structures, is like it's different each time in a way that players now want to try out like different strategies or try and solve the puzzle on how to do the best in that season. And each time it feels like very different, whether that's due to balance changes or new content or new systems, or even new archetypes being added. So.
No, I love the answers. Great. They've all been great answers. And you know what, Hado? You can clip this. You know I don't play idle games. This guy's sold me, bro. I think I'm about to play.
Listen,
you took my thing, bro. I was gonna say that I want to play this game now. Like
it's funny. I used to think idle games were like the dumbest thing ever. I was like, why would anyone be interested? Like, I just didn't understand it at all. It's like, what's the point, right? And then I tried during like COVID times, I tried MMORPG, and I was like, wait, this is actually really nice. Like, I can like. It was so nice to be able to like work, and then every couple hours I would just check quick and I'd be like, oh, sweet. Like I did this, I got this level, I did this. I'm going to go do this now. And it was like a nice way to like give a little bit of a break throughout the day on something to check. without it being so distracting that I'm like, okay, let's queue up for a game of Deadlock, or let's hop on WoW Arena for 2 hours, whatever. Like, it was like a light enough distraction that it kept me like engaged in my work, but also not too big of a distraction that it was actually like, okay, now I'm just not working for the next 2 hours. And so I actually think idle games fit a really cool niche for people that are like low on time, or they just want that like feeling of like progressing an MMO without playing 12 hours a day, which I think, especially when you're light on time, like you still have that itch of wanting to like progress in an MMO or an RPG in general, but you might not have the time. And this is where an idle game is perfect for that.
Yeah, that's kind of the toilet titles hit sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, that's what we call them, right?
Grind some idle game. Yeah. I'm definitely down. We got a question here. When will the game
be good?
Wait, what? Hey,
listen, I don't mind in the slightest. But he was at the Arcane season 2 premiere. Were you actually there, or were you watching the stream? That sounds sick as hell. I'm very envious of that. That's what his badge has, by the way. That's what I'm referring to.
Oh, okay.
It says he was at the Arcane season 2 premiere. I don't know if you had to like actually be there live for that, or if you could just watch it on Twitch. But if you were live there for that, that's sick as hell.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Man. I agree with this though. Like, idle gaming is better than TikTok
work time. Yeah.
Or doom scrolling too. Like doom scrolling, dude. I can't, man. How many times I doom scroll a day? We're gonna take a little break here. We're gonna hop into the lightning round, and we'll be doing the final boss after that. So.
Oh shit!
Wait,
what? Hold on, Hado. Comments from X. This is a limited commodity, sir. They're going to take the dark side. What's up, Terry's? Sorry, usually you know how it is on X. Any engagement, we gotta glorify that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know, you never get any engagement on X usually. So whenever somebody comments from X, I'm like, let the light shine down on the boss battles. All right.
Bro, you happy with that? All right, let's take a quick ad break, guys. We'll be back right after these messages.
Foolish crypto Hado. Foolish crypto Hado. With a name like that, this guy thinks he's a crypto guru, but he's really just a shit gamer. Isn't this the guy who thinks a minimap is a requirement for a game? Fool! It doesn't surprise me that this loser quit Valorant! Don't be like him, gamers. Get Slurfy. It'll make your gaming experience over 9,000! Drink Slurfy. Enjoy the blast. Know your place, gamers! Know your place! Follow for more content! Or your...
I like what you got there. Let me show you what I got. Check this.
Slurfy.
Catalyst.
Shout out to production for those great ads.
They're sick as hell, man.
Yeah, we love doing fun ads here on the show.
Hold on. Where is this guy? What is this weird AI slop? Welcome to boss battles.
I did see that. That was pretty funny. Pretty funny.
Like that.
New quest for Glaze Ford. Drink 500 Yeti Frost Slurpees. Ooh, interesting. Interesting idea. We'll put a pin in that.
you like heart palpitations.
That's a lot of Yeti Frost Slurpees. I don't know. That's a high number. All right, we're gonna go into our lightning round.
It's time for the Slurpee Voltage round, sponsored by Slurpee Voltage. Feel the energy.
Shout out Sir Sapient and Damien on all of those visuals and the music and all the ads and stuff. So we're gonna do like the first 5 on me, and then Ramen's gonna do the next 5. These are gonna be like some rapid fire questions. They're not gonna be part of the poll. So first question says, what archetype combo from Raven Quest would absolutely break RavenIdle if you tried to port it over?
I mean, that's for you guys to figure out. Keep in mind, this is like a season 0. We really wanted to bring it out where people can try and find things that are broken. That's kind of the intention. And even with expeditions, we're actually doing in Raven Quest, we're doing very similar. Like, we want you to find broken builds in it. And it is like expeditions being that kind of roguelike experience. We want you to have those like God feeling runs. And with RavenIdle, like, that's for you to explore. We'll do balance patches between each season, and there might be like some glaring things that maybe we need to adjust, but ultimately that's for you to figure out what's broken and how you can be the strongest amongst the group.
Awesome. Break the game, everybody. You heard it first.
Yeah.
Next question says, if you had to play RavenIdle during your morning coffee routine, what's your optimal 5-minute strategy?
Oh, I mean, it really depends on what you want to do. Like, if you're chasing after the reward pool, there's certain things that you should definitely make a priority on, like doing the dungeons and stuff like that. But ultimately, like, what activity you feel is most beneficial at that time is up to you. Because with RavenIdle, like, you can progress in whether killing creatures and getting silver from that, or certain, gathering to get certain profession materials. It's really what you need that day. So if you're like, okay, I'm starting to lag behind on gear, might need to go do some mining, do some blacksmithing. And then, but dungeons will be a key one, definitely, when it comes to like the reward pool, crushing those out. And dungeons are really, it's like a floor-based system. So you just keep doing harder and harder floors, and the farther you go, the bigger the rewards. So having a strong and well-rounded character is going to be the best strategy for that. So.
Alrighty. Next question says, Telegram, Discord, or a mobile app, where do you personally check your RavenIdle progress?
Browser. Yeah.
Next question says, most surprising player strategy you discovered during alpha testing?
Oh, that would be a better question for like the RavenIdle team. Maybe you can ask it in the Discord, and maybe one of them will mention. There, like, honestly, with the testing, there wasn't anything that was like super concerning that came up, because again, we were using game design from Raven Quest, because it really is simulating the Raven Quest experience. So there wasn't much that was like a glaring issue or surprising issue. Just some like standard balance tweaks and stuff. Some skills just didn't translate well over, especially some like AoE based skills. So we kind of tuned them a little bit. But
alrighty, and the last one here says, if the prize pool hits full $570,000, what's the first thing you're buying with your winnings?
Like, if I win $570,000, or if it goes above, what will we use that for?
I think it's saying, what would you do if you won it?
Oh, if I won it? I mean,
yeah.
Shit, that's a good question. 570. Probably get like just a sick mansion to rent out with like the entire studio. That would be fun. We did like we've done a couple now. Like, we're a global studio, so it's a little trickier. But when we just did a event down in Brazil, we had like pretty much the entire team in like the same vicinity. Some of them were at hotels, some of them were staying at his house, and then everyone would come to the house during the day. And things like that are a ton of fun, especially like for the new team members to like be together with everyone. When you're a remote studio, it's like so beneficial to bring everyone together. And that would allow us to do it without a sweat on my brow, trying to, financially make sure we can do that, because they are like really important things to do. It's definitely worth those kind of expenses, because it does just bring everyone much more aligned. And like with being a remote studio, you do save on certain costs, right? Obviously not having office space and stuff like that. And that's where you can relocate that to still get that benefit from it.
Alrighty, Ramen, you have the next 5.
All right. Which team member is most addicted to checking their idle progress?
Probably Yuma. Yeah, probably Yuma. I know there was a pretty funny video that like RavenQuest Tools did, or a meme that was just like all the staff when Niter asks what they're doing, and they're all like playing RavenIdle. But yeah, like one thing I'll say is like our studio really loves the stuff that we build. It's the amount of staff that like we've literally had to been like, okay, you can't play this much RavenQuest because like we don't want the community to be upset that a developer is like this high level or whatever, right? And so we really love the stuff we build, and we build it ultimately like for our community, but also for ourselves, right? Like what do we think is fun? What do we enjoy? Our entire studio is built up of gamers. We're in this profession because we love making games. Obviously, a lot of people, the game industry is not nearly as lucrative as like many other tech industries out there. You do it because you love it, right? You do it because you love the art, you love the experience, and you love just making something that you like as well, you know?
Love that. They're commenting in the chat. Yes, questions are being read in the chat. Just for those that are there, we're gonna get to some of these here in just a second. But we're getting to the lightning round, so now we know who's degenning on RavenIdle. Oh, this one's gonna be fun. Describe RavenIdle's combat in the style of a sports commentator.
What? I don't even know how to do a sports commentary, and I watch football like nonstop.
You're doing
all I
great
do.
so far. Get a little excited.
Okay, there we go. Just gotta get excited about it. Pick 3 archetypes, pick your skills, kill creatures. There we go.
Nailed it.
Sports commentary. That's a tough one.
We've got now reporting from the sidelines. We got Nicholas Snyder's-Pitt coming in with the team with the RavenQuest Idle team, and we've got some of the archetypes that are currently available right now. We're going to go ahead and zoom over to the.
What are you
gotta get one of those things.
You're talking
right,
slice speed.
We got to hire this guy now.
Yeah.
We got to hire this guy.
All right. All right. Next question. If RavenIdle characters could review question. If RavenIdle characters could review RavenQuest on Steam, what would they complain about? What?
Sorry, from character standpoint, so not like RavenIdle players, they would say I have to walk way too much. They would say trade packs are much heavier across the ocean. I guess the walking thing would probably be the biggest one, from a perspective of the character.
They're saying crazy. Farm steak forever.
Yeah. I've been standing beside this farm for way too long.
Oh man, that is wild. It kind of threw me off too.
Yeah.
All right. Oh man, who's production and community? You guys got the craziest questions. I could already know where this one's go. What's the weirdest place someone has played your Telegram version?
Yeah, so I think we're actually doing a contest for this right now. I think, or it's about to go live. I maybe just leaked that early. But they want to do a contest where you can share the weirdest place to play RavenIdle. But then also I know they want to do the weirdest device to play RavenIdle on. And that was inspired by someone sending them playing it on a digital clock. So
what?
No way. Do I gotta go find like old TI-85 or like one of those things?
Hell
and
yeah.
then flash it?
Hell yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see refrigerators, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really smart. Never thought about that. That's
Wake up, grab your breakfast, do a couple things. Yeah.
Wait, RavenIdle. Yeah. Oh, Game Boy Color Idol.
Yeah.
Because he's in. Okay. Actually,
Bro,
that would go hard.
Rob, have you seen those modded Game Boys? They can do anything, dude. It's crazy. You can do anything with mods.
Wow. Yeah. All right. Last question, lightning round. Complete this sentence. RavenIdle proves that Web3 gaming can be ...
alive. that there's people that want to play Web3 game. This has been like the weirdest thing for us. Is like there's such a sentiment of like, oh, there's no people playing Web3 games anymore. One, that's absolutely not true. They're just playing games. But ultimately that like studios can actually make fun games as well in Web3. It doesn't have to be just these really boring experiences that are really just a gamified casino. People can make stuff in Web3 and utilize a lot of the technology in a way that isn't impeding the player experience. I've said it many times. I think one of the dumbest things is requiring a wallet to play a Web3 game. You're basically cutting off all of your conversion from the Web2 audience. And you're also just making it annoying for the Web3 audience as well. So like in all of our titles, you don't need to connect your wallet to start playing. You're able to do that at any point. And I don't know why you would ever do that, especially on like a web-based game. Why would you ever like destroy your onboarding? Like you're probably losing 99% of Web2 players, and you're probably losing like a third of Web3 players. So I don't see ever why they do that. There's nothing more frustrating to me than seeing another Web3 game. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm gonna check it out. And I go to their website and it's like literally just immediately like put your wallet in. I'm like, I just wanted to see what it was. Yeah.
I get some claps in the chat real quick. Because yes, I even think that like the email is a pain point, even for me. Yeah. Still to this day, like you have to fill out a whole thing like before I play the game. Like I'm not doing all that, and most gamers don't want to do all that. But I agree with you 100%. Like it turns people away instantly.
I think the like login with Google is very interesting. If you're like a trusted brand, obviously, right? Something we're actually building out for RavenIdle for season 1 is just like guest login. So you can just log in, start playing, and then you can make an account and it will remember that progress. I think things like that are really beneficial. But also like logging in with your Quest account is really what we want to build out there, where all of our ecosystem games and third-party builders can just log in with a Quest account, and they don't need to make a new account for each title.
I don't know. That's good. Before we go, sorry, Hado, sounds like you were breathing. You can say something?
I am breathing. I'm still alive. I was going to pull up a question here from the chat, and it said, Niter, do you have any plans to release RavenIdle on Android or iTunes Store to expand its reach, just instead of just keeping it browser-based?
Yeah, definitely. Season 0, really, we're actually going to call it like the beta, like RavenIdle beta or something like that. But we decided to call it Season 0 because there is already like a prize pool involved and stuff like that. But ultimately, like we do see this as a soft launch. We want to see like what are the kinks that we need to work out? What are things we can improve? What are the how can we change some of the structuring on maybe the reward pool, stuff like that? Again, it was supposed to start as a 10K prize pool. It became 70K. But really, that's our goal, is like, let's iterate each season. Let's improve it each time. We're going to have a ton of feedback. Even when you have like a quite polished game with many test phases like Raven Quest, on launch, they're still like, oh, this is really strong. And no one found that during the test phase, like fishing was on launch. Like we had 3 2-week-long test phases, and not once was that ever like a community feedback, maybe like one guy, but it was never like a community sentiment. Come launch, nothing changed with fishing, and everyone's like, oh, it's crazy OP. It's like, well, no, people just discovered good ways to do it. And so with that, like being able to iterate between seasons will be key for us, and know that we will make tons of iterations between seasons, because it is like we're really putting the product out there and like, let's live test this, right? And yeah.
We have a couple more questions here from the chat. Just want to pull some up. Will there be vesting for the token like there was in Raven Quest? This has been making a lot of people wary of RavenIdle.
Yeah, we will not have like a play to unlock like we did with Raven Quest. To be clear, the play to unlock, we did a poll in our community, and it was like 98% wanted that over 20-month vesting. That was like our original vesting terms from 3 years ago already. And we did a vote. Should we do play to unlock instead to get the rewards like into people who actually continue to play? And it was almost universally voted for that. So that's why we changed it. And then the 2%, of course, were upset about that, which is also understandable. We try to listen to the community, but we know even with like a 98-2 poll that there'll still be those people that don't want that, right? And we won't be doing a play to unlock or anything with RavenIdle. We will be sharing kind of what the vesting and stuff looks like for that, but it will be something very short, probably like a week or 2, or it'll be something very short there.
Thank you, Ivry and Snar, for your questions. We also have one more question here from Gal TTV. Okay, then I'd like to know more about how tournaments will work. I'm kind of disappointed about the arena not being balanced, since it would sort players by skill in the ranks, not by time played, as Rift does. But tournaments happen But will tournaments happen with a balanced environment, or will it favor the open world strongest players?
Yeah, so this is another good example where we shared about arenas. We didn't actually say if they were going to be balanced or like use your character's progress. And it was overwhelmingly people wanting it to be use your character's progress. Biggest reason is rifts are already a balanced PvP experience. So people wanted, like, I want my character to matter, right? They want their progress to matter and that to be an impact in arenas. However, the arena system is really just one piece of multiple pieces there. We want to do an idea that a community member had that was really cool on like a gladiator arena where the gear you go in with, there's like a prize pool associated and you actually lose that gear at the end. So it's kind of like how much do you want to bring into the arena to risk it to win? But then also like how strong do you want to be and how free roll do you want to be with the gear you bring in? But also like for tournaments, like our tournaments will many times will have two sections to it. So we'll have one that makes sure reward the players that are really pushing into their character, and then also a side that is balanced as well.
Alrighty, I see one more question here. Speaking of ecosystems, when Raven Card's TCG game? There's some people in chat that are like, no more TCGs,
no more
please.
I think I'm not sure if they're asking like physical TCG because we do have physical cards. We're actually going to be sharing a teaser in like, I'll get to it right after this in like half an hour because the physical Raven cards are actually in factory right now being printed. Working with the same manufacturer as Pokemon cards. So really high quality. There's some behind me as well. But we're doing like our full mass print run right now. So I'm not sure if they're asking like physical TCG, if they're talking about game TCG. I love TCGs. I love Magic. Not in the early future here. I think a lot of people like the idea of us doing a TCG because we already have a literal brand around Raven cards. And so whether doing a digital one or whatever, we already have like artwork for cards and all this kind of stuff. It's something that a lot of our team want to build, but it's not the immediate goal here. But
gotcha.
Okay, great questions from the chat though.
Yeah,
Great
chat's asking a lot of questions here. You guys gonna buy Quest for the team part of prize?
That is our team position. So we literally have that already. So instead of us selling it, providing it for the prize pool.
And finally, so basically a loot system for arena, or does the person who loses gear doesn't get to go to the person who beat them?
No, so the idea is that the gear would actually be burned. And I think that's also interesting, though, doing like a winner takes all from the whole thing. That could be pretty cool, actually. So maybe we do both now. You're giving me ideas. But the idea is really like a burning mechanism for like equipment and stuff in the game. But I think both ideas are pretty cool. Even if like you kept it, but maybe you like keep half of it or something, so still half is burned. That's a pretty cool idea.
Hey, building in public. That's what
I know. I'm making a literal note right now of that idea. So
hey. Chat, asking you shall receive. What can I say? Let's move on to the last boss of the show.
Dark Paladin.
All right. So in this round, I'm going to be asking a question, then Ron will be asking the next question. We're going to be alternating. So that's the first question here. It says, you're launching a third game by the end of 2025. Rapid 3-game IP expansion. Looking at other studios' franchise attempts, what specific lessons from successes and failures guide your multi-game strategy?
Yeah. Well, it's one that I'm very familiar with because we've discussed that a lot internally, is like, how do we be different? And to be clear, in Web 2, this model works very well and it's very normal, right? Studios many times have multiple titles. It's in Web 3 that it seems to, a lot of teams will say, we're going to build an ecosystem of games to FOMO people into that, but they've never even delivered one good game. And so they're like, hey, we're going to build like 5 amazing titles. And here's all this stuff coming. It's like, well, how about you just ship one to show that you can actually make a fun game, right? And so we wanted to take a different approach and show first, hey, here's Raven Quest. Here's a special game that, a certain audience is going to absolutely love. And now here's RavenIdle, and continue to show what we're able to do and show that we're able to make an actual compelling ecosystem of games. And so again, in the Web 2 side, this model isn't too outlandish or anything, and nor is it in Web 3, but people just don't know how to deliver one. And I've said one of the biggest issues I see with Web 3 or what has led to this point is it's a lot of people that know how to raise money, but not a lot of people who actually know how to make a game. And so they start a studio and it's just completely lackluster, insane spending, no direction. And it's because they knew how to raise the money, but they didn't know actually how to do the part that they had to do with that money. And I think it's why VCs have almost completely pulled out of Web3. And because they're like, most of these people don't actually have that foundation. And it was a huge edge for us coming in the space, having a 11-year history of making games and being able to move in and be like, hey, we can show this. And showing it with Raven Quest was the first step, and RavenIdle will be the second.
Oh, he's muted again. This is great. He does it every episode.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I do it in meetings too.
Oh man.
Welcome back. Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say I did like I loved what you said about like a lot of these people that are building in this space haven't really done it, and like it shows, right? And then you guys come along, you guys know what you're doing and stuff. It shows as well. It shows who's really like trying to build here and who's like trying to extract, in my opinion. But
no, absolutely.
I think there's a lot of value what you just said right there.
Yeah, and the reality is like a lot of people like put Web3 in this like bubble almost, where it's like blockchain integration can be very seamless. Like anyone can log in and play Raven Quest and never once need to know a single thing about blockchain. And if they then want to learn about that and have that as like an added part to it, they can, but it's a game, right? And they just happen to be able to do that as well later. And I think that we're going to see that line blurred a lot. And we already see it where people are arguing like, this isn't like fully Web3. And it's like this like cult thing almost. It's like, but why do you want it to be? Like, what is it? Is it for your own like purity test or something? Like, it's so odd because like, you're blocking off a huge demographic and you're making that bubble like very closed off, which is not a good idea. And it's like, I get it from like our team versus their team, or we even see with chains where chains like, I'm, a Ronin guy. And it's like, why not just go where there's a fun game to be played? Right.
Exactly.
Why does it matter? And so I hope that we see Web3 continue to move towards that, to understand that like there's really cool parts about blockchain, the player to player trading, being able to do that outside the game, all those kind of things. Those are so cool. But you don't need to also then like be like, you have to have a wallet, you have to do this, everything has to be on chain. It's like, no, just use the good parts about it, get out the crap that makes onboarding harder, and you have a good product. And so I hope people like come around to that and realize they don't need to be so cultish on like the Web3 purity test crap. It's the weirdest shit to see, and it just screams people, because I even see big creators doing this. It screams people that have really no experience with game development or anything related to games. There's just no way, because they would never say those things.
I agree. And like the biggest personalities, they don't just follow like Xbox or just PlayStation. They follow all of gaming, right?
And that cult thing, like for Xbox versus PlayStation, it was fun. I remember it back in, it was like 2006, 2007, that was at its strongest. But ultimately, like if one comes out, like if the next Xbox comes out and it's better, get that one. Don't bleed blue for PlayStation. Like just buy the better console. And it should be the same with games and chains. Like if this game is fun, it's on another chain, don't feel like you're like sinning by not playing it because it's on another chain. Like, dude, go have fun, go play a game. Like what do you mean? Like you don't owe that chain anything, right? They
probably owe you something more than likely.
Exactly.
Missed claim, airdrop window, went back to the community pool. If you needed like $100, could you like message that chain and say, hey, I need $100? And like they don't give a shit, right? Like that, like and again, like we love, like as a company that works with Immutable, like we're very close with Immutable and we like them a ton. But ultimately, as like a gamer, like go where you want to play a game. Who cares what chain they're on, right?
Agreed.
You know what's wild is playing in this space the longest time, and I'm gonna use cuss words here. This is how I feel. I don't give a fuck what chain the game is on as long as it hits. I got to this point, but remember, we used to be ostracized for saying we just want a fun game with the great loop. Oh yeah, well then why are you even in Web3? It's not a Web3 game. Da, da, da. All these gaming purists are like, they're like the BTC maxis. It's like, shut the fuck up. I get it. Yeah, you want to do all this. You want to be virtual signal immutably. I get it.
Yeah,
it's weird
yeah.
in Web 2 and you're doing
Yeah.
it in Web 3. Stop virtuously. You guys need better shit.
And
do.
to be clear, like there's people that do it with immutable as well. And again, we really like immutable. We speak very highly of them. But at the same time, like we also think that's weird. Like you can speak highly of immutable, but like if there's a great game on another chain that you want to play, go play it. Don't feel like you owe something and you're not allowed to or whatever. But at the same time, like even the like Web3 people just want a fun game. We've learned that like there is like the 1% of real ones that do. They're gamers first. The other stuff comes along. We very quickly, that like bubble burst for us when we moved into Web3 and launched, when we saw creators that, and not many of them, but a few of them, that like on their tier list and all that stuff, they put us like number 1 or like S tier, all this kind of stuff. And then when we released and they saw they weren't like earning an insane amount, because we just didn't think that like nuclear arms race of play to earn rewards was sustainable, and it hasn't been shown sustainable, and we want to take a different approach, they immediately started talking crap about us and not even including us on tier lists anymore. And we're like, oh, that changed really fast. And then the next day they're like, we just want a fun game. It's like, well, you said we are the funnest game in Web3 and suddenly you hate us because you're not getting a bag on. It's like it was very odd. And while there are the real ones that I can tell just by the way they talk about games that they do care about a fun game, there's also a lot that say that, and it's like a branding thing, right? It's like, hey, we're a real one, and it's like, no, you're not, because the second you're not getting the bag on one, you suddenly don't care, right?
I'll to the next one. That's what they do.
Yeah, you're only as good as your last airdrop, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly.
Community.
And to be clear, like if that's their goal, like more power to them. There's nothing wrong with that either. But don't like send one messaging that you really don't act with or show in any of your actions, right? Just be transparent. Say, hey, man, I want to go farm and make a bunch of money. Sick, man. Like, who doesn't want to work hard and make money in anything they do, right? Or you know, like there's nothing wrong with that, but don't do this weird thing where you're trying to get like gamer cred when really you don't back that up.
Yeah. Niter says, quit LARPing, bro.
Yeah. That's a way shorter way of saying it. Thank you for summing me up, because I do ramble.
Yeah, speaking of, that's okay. We all ramble here. And speaking of ramble, I want to make sure we get to some of the comments here in the chat. I'm so sorry, Bunny Meow. I think this was the Boss 3 intro. My eardrums. I get it.
Yeah.
It was kind of loud.
Same, Bunny.
Yeah, and then we also have over here, I think this was talking about the Iranian thing, like in Albion, have a chance to trash the items when drop. That's a good one here. And then we got Billion Football. The models having multiple titles, having issues where the early system costs to invest in each to compete or become mediocre in multiple. How do you make it cross-compatible to provide value from one to another, or will they be treated as separate entities with very, very minor ties across them? That's a great question.
No, that's a fantastic question. Like you're really looking at that from like a studio head position, right? Like what is the benefit to making multiple titles, right? And we really see it as I kind of talked earlier in the pod about it, but just really strong cross-pollination, right? So how do we make sure that we're releasing ecosystem titles that don't demographically clash with each other? For example, if we made like another just straight up MMORPG like Raven Quest, that would make no sense, right? We're just competing with ourselves, but with a huge added cost. So really looking at like how do we capture different demographics and help cross-pollinate them. And I think like Blizzard and Riot have done this exceptionally well, obviously on a much bigger scale. They're gigantic studios, but they've done a really good job of this, right? How do we get like the MOBA crowd? How do we get, well, that was one they missed on, but how do we get the TCG crowd, right? And the amount of people that play Hearthstone and they're like, oh, this universe is kind of cool. I've been wanting to try an MMO. Maybe I'll try WoW in the next expansion, right? So really looking at that and how do they complement each other really well. And then the second part there is really the cost to invest. We have experience building games. We know what we're doing. We made sure this wasn't us, going to a project that was going to be $1 million sink and risk. We wanted to build something out small, and that's kind of what we want to do with our ecosystem titles, like build kind of concepts out and then see like what really take off and what should we lean into building out more. And it allows us to, like, something that I've been saying a lot with new stuff with the team is like the aim small, miss small thing, where it's like, you do a low risk on it. If it ends up being great, okay, build it out further from there, instead of taking that huge risk up front and then it not panning out and you're like, well, we shouldn't have spent the last 3 years building that. And I think most can see like how quickly we turned around with RavenIdle. And that was with like a team that was doing it kind of like on the side, like not their full commitment. Now they are fully in-house, but like we built out something pretty quick there and pretty special. So
nice. I'm gonna keep it pushing on here to the next question. That was great. By the way, we've got some other great comments in the chat, but I also want to keep the show flowing. But I will get to you guys in the chat, so keep them coming. Question 2, boss number 3, RavenIdle. Oh, we kind of talked about this, but RavenIdle launches on Immutable while RavenQuest runs independently. How does this multi-chain approach affect your architecture? And will you bridge assets between games or keep separate ecosystems?
He's just incorrect on the question. Yeah, Ada knows, but RavenQuest and RavenIdle are actually both on Immutable.
Both on Immutable.
So you can use your same passport for both of them. And also, again, you can actually link your account as well. So when you make a RavenIdle account, we will have login with Quest. We just weren't able to get it like fully sound for season 0, but you're able to just create an account and then you can actually just link it to your RavenQuest account. So the things that you unlock, like with RavenIdle, we have a premium battle pass, but we also have a free battle pass. And there's tons of stuff that you can unlock in the free that will not only be for your RavenIdle character, but you'll also get them on your RavenQuest character. And the same is for landowners. If you have land in RavenQuest, you don't need to like move it to another game or anything like that. Just linking your account, it'll automatically recognize that you have land in your RavenQuest account, and you'll get those benefits on RavenIdle as well. And that'll be for all of our ecosystem games. Like no friction there, being able to use kind of that one master account for all of them, and also not have to like move your assets around, because we think that's like one of the worst things that people who are building out an ecosystem is like, okay, you can only use it in one game at a time, which we understand why they do that, because they're hoping people buy multiple of them. But ultimately, it makes for an awful user experience, and you can't really play both then confidently without constantly moving your assets back and forth. So,
all right, no, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to get the next question here to Hado.
All right, next question says the idle RPG market is saturated. MMORPG, adventure, capitalist, variants everywhere. Beyond Web3 integration, what gameplay innovation pulls players from established idle games they've invested hundreds of hours into?
So reality is every single genre in gaming is saturated. We moved into MMORPG development, and the first thing is it's an incredibly saturated market. It's very hard to build out an MMORPG. We've done great in it. I think if you know what you're doing and you feel like you're making a compelling game for a certain type of demographic, it's going to do well. And we've seen that with the RavenIdle signups. Like we were like, hey, if we hit 10,000 accounts, that'll be sick. We blew past that, and it hasn't even dropped yet. So we've seen a very positive reception there. But the reality is every single genre in gaming is, you would consider, very saturated. But the cream rises to the top, and if you build a strong gameplay loop and something that people find compelling and build off that, you'll be good.
Absolutely. I want to let the chat know that the poll is live. This is the final boss. Get your votes in. Let us know how Nider is doing on the final boss. Kicking the next question over to Ramen.
You should have done that in your sports commentator voice, but okay. I'm just kidding. We're on the thing.
What voice was that, Ramen? What voice was that?
I don't know, whichever one your sports commentator voice is. That would have been really cool. I'm looking for that Hado arc. All right, next question. If other studios copy this community-funded prize pool model, how do you maintain competitive advantage? And what prevents prize pool inflation from making individual rewards meaningless?
Okay, second part of that question, I'm going to need some clarity on, because I'm not 100% sure what they're asking. If other studios copy something of ours, more power to them. There's like we've always said, RavenQuest is like a Frankenstein of all the things that we loved in other MMOs that we played over 2 decades, and then taking out the things that we didn't like from those systems. I think you should be inspired by other games and the way they do things. I don't think it's like we've had like direct copycats of our games where they literally like rip assets from the client and stuff like that. And we've always said we'll always be one step ahead, and that's how we'll keep our advantage over them, right? But I also think like games should take ideas from other games, and obviously not like a blatant rip off or like literally just making the exact same thing and calling it, RavenIdle 2 or something like that. But if they see our prize pool structure and the way we do like our earning loop, and they're like, oh, that's a cool idea, sweet, like we're happy to lead the path on that. And that's how we'll be every step of the way. Even when we did our play to unlock, we had so many other studios that messaged us and they're like, shit, we wish we would have done that. That's so brilliant, because now those players are going to want to come back and play, and they're actually getting more rewards for doing so, but they're not just going to disappear. And when we did that, we were like, hey, like, this is very different. We're going to get some pushback. We knew we would, and we did. But ultimately, the amount of other studios are like, we would never say this, but we think that's a brilliant model, and we wish we would have done it. And so, I think it's good to pave the way and take risks. And if other people copy that because it's successful, sweet. Maybe we have like a better earning loop model. Maybe it's beneficial for Web3 long term.
No, absolutely. Banger answer. And speaking of banger answers and stuff from the thing, I just want to show there are people out here like me that don't even care about the Web3 part of Raven. We just want to play a fun MMO. God bless your little heart. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. We just want to play some games. Give us the loot, not the loot. Right? Hey, that's a good show name.
We've noticed that even doing like AMAs, the amount of people that are like, we're talking about like, token stuff or land stuff, and they're all like, hey, can you just like talk about the game? And we're like, that is the biggest piece of praise ever. Because like even if you go into our Discord and go into like the tavern, like all discussion is in either a tavern or there's an exclusive landowner chat. And it's just talking about the game all day. And then you go into a lot of Web3 game Discords, and 99% is around like earning or the token or whatever. And we just realized like that's not the community we want to build. That's not a community that's ever going to stay around.
Great.
It definitely
keep this back out.
Yeah, it definitely builds a fandom of like they just want to get more information on the game and stuff. And yeah. I'm sure people are like already doing like fan art or some sort of like fan art. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It is the craziest compliment, though.
It is. Yeah.
Sure. Next question says, given Raven Quest complexity and RavenIdle simplicity, your third game represents the middle point. Without revealing too much, what complexity level are you targeting? Closer to the depth or accessibility?
I feel like they're literally in our studio meetings, because that is like exactly the philosophy that we have, is that Raven Quest is like one far side of the spectrum, RavenIdle the other, and then our next thing that we're cooking up is like in the middle. So it's definitely like mechanically, it's not an MMO, so it's not like mechanically as deep as that, but really we wanted to build out another thing that's like very easily accessible, but then like insane depth. And it's actually I'm not going to share too much on it yet, but it's actually inspired, if anyone knows this game, it's actually probably no one will know, because I don't think I've shared this publicly, but it's inspired by a game that I absolutely love. Very simple game, but very deep and a very fun game. Actually, I'll just share it. We'll drop the alpha.
Hey, let's do it.
Where the name is placeholder. It's called Monk Packs, but it's actually building out a trade pack with a monk, and it's inspired by backpack battles. So essentially, it's a ghost board PvP game where you build out a board, and you like it's kind of like a little bit of a puzzle element to it, like how the items support each other, and there's like a shot phase between each round. If you haven't played backpack battles, highly recommend it. Very fun game. And that was a lot of the inspiration for our third title.
There you go, chat. Absolutely. Got another little leak of alpha right there.
The alpha flows through us. Yeah. Sorry, I'm making stupid Star Wars references nobody cares about anymore. All right, last question, boss. Number 3. Let's go. I don't know why I said it like that, but looking at the broader Quest token ecosystem, Raven Quest established the token through complex MMORPG mechanics, and now RavenIdle introduces it to casual idle gamers. With your third game coming this year, how does Quest utility evolve across multiple game types? And what's the long-term vision for creating a unified token economy that serves both hardcore MMORPG players and casual mobile gamers without diluting value for either group? I can read that twice too if you need me to.
No, that's perfect. That's really why with our ecosystem games, like, what we would never want to do is like RavenIdle, like you play and just every day you're getting printed quests or something like that, right? Because what's going to happen is what some Web3 groups have gone down, where you now have like two games that one is going to be maybe a little bit better for earning, and then the other game kind of gets abandoned. They're like killing themselves off by that, right? Because let's say RavenIdle, people were earning twice as much. They'd be like, oh, leave RavenQuest, come play RavenIdle because you'll earn more, right? And so that's why we're doing kind of different reward pool structures in each of them, so they're not cross-competing like that, right? And so with our third one, we already actually have a model built out for it. But we do really like the risk to earn model. We think it's a very strong model, especially if done right. RavenIdle is really just the first taste of what we're building out there. Yeah.
Got it. That's gonna wrap
Not
it.
sure if I missed some of that question, or did I hit it well? If there's something, feel free.
Well, we're gonna figure that out based on the scores from the poll. So, folks, make sure you go out there and you go vote. It's not up to me. I can't. Yeah, I only vote if you pay money. We didn't get any inside of our wallet, so I can't cast a vote for you, my friend. But I am going to get to some of these questions that were here in the chat. And he gone. Is he getting my airdrop ready?
I can't face possibly losing a boss fight. Okay, I can't. No, I just closed.
This is up to your community. It's on their. It's up to.
Well, then I'm screwed. I see a couple staff names in here, so I know they're voting against me.
Well. We'll staff don't count. Staff don't count. Unless you get staff infection, that counts. That's crazy. Billion Football. We all want to believe and have faith in our passion projects. Do you have internal goals for how long to maintain an X number player base before considering the title a success? 5, 10 year, etc. What is a realistic expectation for your team?
Yeah, so I would say, like, for us, I mean, we already consider what we've done a massive success. We know what we set out to do. We exceeded the numbers that we expected. The retention is a number that we know we're very sustainable and in a very good spot. And we also are a well-diversified studio. Like, we do have Web 2 parts of the studio as well. And we're a larger studio. So us making sure that we have a well-diversified path forward is very important to us. But on top of that, like, whenever we talk about MMORPGs, I think every MMO, their goal is to be around for many, many years to come. And it's surprising how many, like Albion, I think, is an incredible example of this. When Albion Online first released, it went for about a year and it basically had like no players left. It was pretty much dead. And then they released some pretty big updates. I believe at the time they dropped on Steam and they saw a massive resurgence, and they did like a fresh start world and all these things. And now Albion's like a pretty household MMORPG name, and it's in a really good spot. And I think that's the beautiful part about MMOs is they don't just kind of have one release, like dropping like the next FIFA or something like that, right? They're able to do really strong catalysts because of the nature of the genre. And I think for anyone making an MMO, your goal is like, how does this become the next legacy MMO, right? How does this stand, around for 10, 20, 30 years? And we're positioned very well to do that. Yeah.
All I heard was strong and catalyst in the same sentence, and my brain was like, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
We are.
Nailed it. The plug.
Yes, we are. All right. Thank you so much for everybody there in the chat with two more, but we're going to get on to the results. Ganado's giving me the eye, so then the music's coming. So I'm going to shut up. All right, bye.
That went perfectly. That's exactly what I wanted that to go like. We have now arrived into our results portion of the show. We're going to find out exactly how Niter did against all bosses today. Shout out to chat for pulling up, supporting, and voting. On boss number 1, Niter got an 88 out of 100. On boss number 3, Niter got a 100 out of 100.
Yes.
Chat, on boss number 2, Niter got an 89 out of 100.
Let's go.
Wow, we beat all the bosses. Congratulations.
Oh, that's
Puts you at a
incredible.
92 overall
Mikey?
score.
Yeah.
Let's
You have
go.
won. You defeated all the bosses. How you feeling, Niter?
Feeling good. All those years of hard work prepped me for this day. I want to thank God. I want to thank our community for voting for me. No, but this show was a ton of fun. Matt told me or Welsh ahead. He said, you're going to have a blast on this show. And he didn't want to like share too much with me. He's like, just go in, you're going to have a blast. And it really was. You guys do an awesome job and really cool what you guys did here. And have been doing for over 60 episodes, 63 episodes. Yeah, very fun.
I cannot wait till episode 69.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
No, thanks for showing up, and it was a lot of fun. Ramen, what did our guests win today?
ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you what Nicholas Niederschrick has won in the land of RavenQuest and RavenIdle. No, I'm just kidding, folks. Just like you see the red badge that we had earlier, you're going to be getting a special prize, and that goes to all of our special guests that defeat all three bosses. And much like the cartridge that people have collected earlier, this is going to hold some utility inside of the Catalyst ecosystem that will launch your game to millions and millions of dollars, and it will improve your love life by 5x.
I've heard.
So you want to collect this.
Yeah, I've heard the rumors.
5x.
Man.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 5x is
Yeah,
a lot.
it is. It's a huge return. Not financial advice ever on this show. Like literally ever. Just kidding.
Oh my goodness.
And also the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by any characters, users, or participants within this game are solely their own and do not necessarily reflect those of the game's creator, developers, or affiliated entities. The creator assumes no responsibility or liability for any such views expressed during this show or gameplay. All right.
Am I watching a medical commercial? What the hell's going on here?
Just a general, disclaimer and liability in case we get sued by huge studios like RavenQuest. All right.
Hey, we are coming after you. If I would have got anything lower than like an 88, I probably would have sued. But you guys are fine.
Well, guys,
nice.
That is going to do it for today's episode of Boss Battle. Please follow the stream if you're new. Shout out to the chat that pulled up, man. You guys are absolutely insane today. And we'll see you guys on the next show. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Let's go. Peace.